China wants to lead the world in technology, and it's investing in virtual reality with its own version of the Metaverse. Welcome to China Uncensored, I'm Chris Chappell. The Metaverse is a concept for an immersive virtual world where users can interact with each other and with virtual objects. Finally, I can live my dream of battling viruses in the Metaverse, just like in Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. Many see the Metaverse as the next evolutionary step for the internet, complete with virtual reality headsets. Meta's Mark Zuckerberg sees the Metaverse as a breakthrough technology that will help his company change the digital world, back to graphics from the 90s. This is so much worse than Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. It's not a huge surprise that Zuckerberg's version of the Metaverse isn't doing very well, to put it mildly. If you want to learn more about that, check out our other channel, America Uncovered. We'll have an episode coming out about that soon. But despite growing skepticism about Meta's version of the Metaverse, a lot of people still see the potential in this kind of virtual reality, especially China. The Chinese government has been throwing its weight behind virtual reality technology since 2018, when the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology said it would accelerate the development of an industry that would leverage an emerging market worth trillions of yuan. The Chinese Communist Party sees virtual reality as one of the key industries of the digital economy that will help China become a powerhouse in manufacturing, cyberspace, culture, and the digital economy. And if everything is virtual, then it won't even matter if everyone is still locked up in their apartments due to China's zero-COVID policy in 2025. Recently, a bunch of cities like Shanghai and Wuhan got onto the hype train and launched plans to tap into Metaverse development. Many Chinese tech giants want in on the Metaverse as well, including TikTok owner ByteDance, Alibaba, and China Mobile. But it wasn't until last week that China came out with its first national-level plan for Metaverse development. Now, the 12-page plan doesn't explicitly use the term Metaverse, but it does highlight technologies that would help build Metaverses, such as gesture tracking, eye tracking, expression tracking, full-body motion capture, 3D reconstruction technology, even odor simulation. Do we really want odor simulation in the Metaverse? There are some things I'd rather not smell, especially if they smell as good as this looks. According to the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, China wants to grow its virtual reality industry output to six-fold what it is now by the year 2026. The guideline says that by 2026, China will have 100 backbone enterprises with a strong ability to innovate and create impact. Of course, developing a Metaverse isn't easy. Even the guideline acknowledges that China faces problems such as supply chain issues and a lack of software know-how. That's why they say China should aim for resilience by making its own breakthroughs in key software and hardware, so as to ensure domestic access to VR equipment and components. Thanks to this news, Chinese Metaverse-related stocks shot up by 5%. Many of you might see the Metaverse as just a way to experience immersive gaming, express individuality, bond with communities, showcase fashion brands, and hold useless corporate office meetings. But things like that aren't the real focus of China's plans for the Metaverse. I'll explain more after the break. Welcome back. China is investing heavily in Metaverse technology. Obviously, when you have any Chinese tech company like ByteDance involved, you can bet the Chinese Communist Party will extract a lot of data from Metaverse users. But that's a whole other episode. China believes that the Metaverse will revolutionize industries like cultural tourism, education, sports, and entertainment. But for China, the Metaverse is more than just some content-creating platform. China sees this as a new high ground of competition in the digital economy in the next decade. The Chinese government is emphasizing a relatively new Metaverse concept called use the virtual to enhance the real, use the virtual to strengthen the real. This was a phrase first mentioned by Jiang Ying, Assistant Director of Shanghai's Economic and Information Technology Commission. According to this principle, there shouldn't be an emphasis on just entertainment. The primary objective for the Metaverse is to advance China's real-life economy. especially its industrial and manufacturing capabilities. This falls in line with Chinese leader Xi Jinping's idea of integrating the digital economy with the real economy as the foundation. That's to say, China doesn't want a metaverse that grows organically according to what its users want. They want the metaverse to be a state-led initiative that advances national development interests like aerospace, medicine, self-driving cars, nuclear power, you name it. China wants tangible results that will help it rule the physical world. It's against abandoning the real to pursue the virtual, because the last thing China wants is people getting hooked on video games, or what it calls spiritual opium. They also don't want people using cryptocurrency to buy stuff in the metaverse. Because the value of cryptocurrency can't be controlled, the Chinese Communist Party can't easily take people's cryptocurrency away. That's why they banned it. The China president at HTC, which is a Taiwan-based computer company, sees a lot of potential in the metaverse for China. He says that if China can quickly achieve broad adoption of the metaverse model, it will bring down a lot of costs that are unnecessary today. It will reduce traffic, be less dependent on imported resources. It will have more accurate tax collection. It will make the environment better. It will allow people to be more efficient/productive and enable the population to be more educated, essentially every factor of a vibrant economy. Yes, having 1 billion people trapped in virtual reality will make China truly vibrant. But on the plus side, zero COVID is going to be a lot easier to achieve. The Chinese Communist Party, of course, looks at things not just from an economic point of view. According to a think tank affiliated with the MSS, China's spy agency, there are political and security implications too. Countries that make the first move in the metaverse will gain an edge, while companies and nations with less digital capabilities would be under their influence or even face the risk of being eliminated. In the political field, the metaverse will become an integral part of a country's political ideology and social culture, and will have a subtle impact on a country's political and cultural security. China's big on security. That's what happens when you're insecure, so insecure that you have to make images like this illegal. And that's why China wants to come up with its own metaverse, with Chinese characteristics, also known as the Chinaverse. As you can imagine, the Chinaverse would be full of stringent oversight of online content, scrutiny of algorithmic recommendations, and limits on cross-border data transfers. This would make it hard to connect with foreign metaverses, and that's the point. While China focuses on building up its Chinaverse to get a technological edge over the rest of the world, I'm sure they're already coming up with ways to exert Chinese dominance over other metaverses. And great news, American companies are more than glad to help China with that endeavor. By the way, according to China's Metaverse Industry Committee, November 11th is Metaverse Day. So if you're in quarantine, then I got a perfect gift for you. You can escape your prison by entering China's virtual reality prison. Happy Metaverse Day. And China Uncensored would not be possible without support from viewers like you, either by liking and subscribing, sharing the show with friends and family, or through direct support on the crowdfunding website Patreon. Those are the fans I call the China Uncensored 50-cent Army, who join us in the fight against the Chinese Communist Party. And as a thank you to them, I respond to their questions or comments. Today's question comes from Thomas Graham. Can you tell us what private gun ownership looks like in China? Good question, Thomas. Yes, I can tell you what it looks like. There is almost no private gun ownership in China. Is anyone surprised by that? After all, Chairman Mao said that political power grows out of the barrel of a gun, and we know who has all the political power and the guns, the CCP. Occasionally people make their own homemade weapons, but what's the point? I mean, why would you even need guns when the CCP is keeping you safe? China's gun ban is so serious that it means even replica guns are banned. That includes toy guns, like airsoft guns. Back in 2015, an 18-year-old got life in prison for buying toy guns from Taiwan. The police argued the guns were real under Chinese law, which was technically true. But the lawyer explained that the classification is hugely flawed, as it is roughly the same speed that something can be thrown into someone's face. 3 years later, that man's sentence was commuted to 7 years in prison instead of life in prison for buying toy guns. Now, China's strict gun law doesn't mean there aren't illegal guns in China, but we don't have good numbers on how many there are. So, thanks for your question, Thomas. And thank you to everyone watching. You can support China Uncensored by going to patreon.com/China Uncensored and contributing $1 or more per episode. As one of the perks, you can ask me questions that I'll answer on the show. Or we have fantastic merch for sale over at ChinaUncensored.tv/merchandise. The links are below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching China Uncensored.